Hi, everybody. This is Haley Roughton from Gore, and you're listening to Interview Under Fire.
I thought it was fruit on the tree, hidden in Eden, God's given gift.
All right, welcome back everyone to a brand new episode of Interview on Fire. This is your host Sonny back here once again with a guest I've been excited to bring on for a few months actually this whole year. The hauntingly and versatile Haley Roughton. It's an honor to have you. Um, Thank you so much for joining our IUF series today. I mean, what a year it has been for you and Gora. Of course, congrats on the well-deserved recognition you guys have been getting on your debut EP. Bud That Never Blooms dropped October 25th, and not even that long ago, but on Spine Farm Records. And then I'm also seeing some fans like finally coming out and discovering your sound, your music. A lot to talk about this awesome record and what you're all about. Before we get to all that, let's take a deep breath. I don't even think I asked you this. How are you? And happy, I guess, election day for people who don't know. At the time of this recording, we're actually doing this on election day of all
Yeah.
days. Not I didn't even think about it. I was like, let's do November 5th. Perfect. Remember the 5th of November. But here we are. But a lot to talk about and good to talk to, of course, a fellow Texan. Um, how are you? Let's start there.
I'm great. Yeah, I voted today. So if you're saying this and you haven't
So did
voted,
I.
too
Hell yeah.
late. You should be ashamed of yourself. I'm just kidding. That was rude, but
I got like 10 stickers. I didn't know where I put it. I could have like
you're
put
like,
it
I
all
want
on
10 of them. I want to make
all
a
10 of
total.
them just on my glasses. I used to do that like every 4 years and then like, hey, go vote. But yeah, I did it today during my lunch break. It felt good to exercise your right. Just throwing that out there.
Yep, for
So
sure.
I mentioned what a year it has been, right? Have you had the chance to take this all in?
In certain moments, I feel like I've taken bits and pieces of it in, and a lot of it has been really like gratifying, and I just feel very blessed for everything. A lot of it also feels like it also kind of feels like pressure sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, we have so much to do now, like and so much to live up to now. Um, I'm honored to be in that position. But it's I feel like at certain moments, like really randomly, it'll hit me
Hmm.
like when I'm able to rest, which is pretty much never. So, that's usually when it hits me. I'm like, oh wow.
Yeah. We'll take this conversation to I'm going to give you this entire however much time we have to give you that moment to reflect and all that because obviously in Gore you guys are locally I know you're locally from Texas, but for fans and listeners who may not know Haley, I don't know how many chances you had a chance to talk about this because I think it is really exciting. I want to go back a year if possible because that was an important time for you, the formation of Gore, maybe even before that alongside your bandmates Alex and Devin. Haley, if you could briefly talk about like that time in your life when you knew that this was actually going to happen.
Yeah, so I was actually living in Arizona at the time we wrote these songs.
Okay.
I had a pretty shit year. I had just been fired from my previous band that was like a
Yeah.
death metal band, and then I had ended a romantic relationship. I was supposed to buy a house, and that fell through due to another family member sweeping the rug out from underneath me. We were supposed to buy like the property together.
Dude.
And so I had to move back in with my mom for like 6 or 7 months, and I was just in a really low spot. And I felt like something had to come of it. It couldn't just be like,
Hmm.
oh, this sucks, and like this is just gonna be what it's just gonna be what it is. And like, no, like something has to come out of this that's good. And that's when I decided that I was kind of done joining other people's bands or like other people's projects. Because in the past, I joined other
Yeah.
people's projects and their vision didn't have much of a say, which is fine, but I wanted to do it differently this time. And that's when I went to a studio in St. Louis and wrote an EP with two fellow musicians slash writers and producers. So we all wrote
Good
um,
dudes.
yeah, Bud That Never Blooms together. And I actually met Caleb and our co-writer in my
Yeah.
old band opening up for them.
Wow.
And then when he found out I wasn't in that band anymore, he's like, "You want to write some songs?" And I was like, "Yeah." you know? So uh yeah, and then that's how Gore came about.
Man, thank you for sharing all that because it's not easy to just discuss topics like that out in the open, but it really shows your growth, your development, your maturity, just even as a person, even as a musician. But to see where you are right now, it's funny because I was having a conversation with a couple of friends. This was a shit year for me too. So hearing from someone like you, it really puts things in perspective. Dude, I'm ready to get this year over with. I don't know about you,
Yeah, well, it's
but
funny because 2024 was a good year, but
yeah,
2023 was a bad one.
yeah. So
Oh.
and we're, I mean, what, a month and a half away from the next year, and I can't wait to get things going. But you're taking this new record with you, which is a really cool way to start things. But man, what a great story to see how this all started. You know, people tell me about I would always read things online about Gore and how they compare you to sounds like Motionless in White and Flyleaf and Papa Roach. I'm sure you heard that. When I heard this, I'm hearing sounds like Deftones, Make Them Suffer. I just saw Spirit Box for the first time in Houston a
Rocks.
couple weeks ago with Gojira. But
Yeah.
um, Haley, here's the thing. Your influences, holy shit, because whether it's personal or professional, right? Who were they? And I guess what do they mean to you? And I'm talking about you specifically as a person because you had this unbelievable range when and one of the reasons why I kept the replay button going on this album because I feel like I'm listening to this majestic angel and then I hear this ferocious beast like on the same track. Like it's I mean, I don't know how you do it. I mean I don't know if I care how you do it because it's I feel like it's a level that's been to me, I've heard so many vocalists, but what's something that stands out to you when someone tells you what I just did? Like who were your influences?
Yeah, I think growing up listening to like a lot of R&B and like hip hop and like
Really? Okay.
really like honed in just how good you can of a singer you can be. Like I am a below average singer in the R&B world. Like that's how crazy they take it and how incredibly talented that whole genre is.
Yeah.
And so I feel like taking kind of practicing and trying to learn those types of vocals helps me become a better musician in general. And I've found a way to kind of fit it in metal, but not to where it's like too
I wonder
um
what artist were you
yeah,
listening to?
Jasmine Sullivan's a big one. I
Oh,
mean, that
wow.
voice is
Okay.
just insane.
That's insane.
Yeah, she's a big one. Victoria Monet. Her
Dude.
songwriting's great. Like Bryson Tiller, who doesn't love Bryson Tiller that loves R&B. Like if you
Yeah.
listen to R&B, you know Bryson Tiller.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely Lucky Day. I remember when I heard him kind of debut and start coming out, I was like, this guy also rocks. Um, but yeah, I think just pulling influence from those kinds of people helped me become a better singer, and I could bring that to the metal world.
And dude, I think you have because and I mentioned that you just came through Dallas. This is a topic I'll never stop talking about because you guys obviously have been making the rounds lately. You guys were here on October 12th in Dallas with Within the Ruins. A shout out to my boy Steve Tennant.
Yeah, Steve.
Such a good guy.
Yeah.
These and from the footage that I've seen, I've yet to see you guys live. So I'm like as I'm talking to you, I'm kicking myself for but hey, it was a good birthday for me.
Birthday, so stop.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, you're good. Fine. We'll
it'd been
play
cool to
again,
see you
I'm
guys. So,
sure.
but these high intensity performances that and these memorable stage presences that has it's got fans talking, Haley. Like, who are these guys? Because this is your first tour, man. Let's recap because did you get a chance to talk about this? How was this tour? What is it about also that live music that really brings out the best in you? Because I feel like out of anything you've really done in your life, Haley, this is where you are in your element. I had some of my buddies shoot that show, photographers, the one here in Dallas, and I'm just like, wow, this.
Yeah.
I've been going through. What's his name? His name is he goes by Delandria, but that's his photo company. But he captured photos of you and the band and just the energy that I was feeling from just the stage presence. How was the tour? What was it like? Are you itching to go back out again?
Yeah, I mean the tour. So to kind of like to to kind of give a little bit of a background, like
Hmm.
we, me and Alex have definitely done like Alex has done tours for sure, like couple week long, I think, tours. He'll correct me, I'm sure, later if I'm wrong about that. Um, Devin has played shows. I don't think he's ever toured, and I've just done like runs.
Yeah.
Same thing, like 4 day runs with my old death metal band. We didn't have the experience of like, oh, like we've done this in other bands. We know exactly how this goes. We didn't have that. So it was a learning curve,
Hmm.
especially going your first tour being like with a band that's very well established, like Within the Ruins has been around for a really long time
Yeah.
and they have a great fan base. Um,
They just dropped a new record too, I think. And
yeah,
it's
they
so
did.
good.
Phenomena 2,
Yep,
baby.
it's so good.
Yeah. Um, but there was a lot to learn, but I think all of that stress of like, okay, this is happening, that's happening, we need to learn how to do this or figure out this, like all that stress melts away when you get on stage. And then you're just there. And I will say the audience at every single show was so kind, so encouraging. I was worried 'cause I was like, these guys are way heavier than us. And I've met a neckbeard or two in my time. And I was like, I hope that people just take it for what it is and try to enjoy it rather than being like, this doesn't have enough growls.
Oh
But it
man.
ended up being that way. Everybody
Yeah.
was so encouraging and kind. Like it was great.
Let's do a little pre-tour prep because what do you take with you on the road, Haley? What's one thing that you had to take with you? Because I love asking this question. I've had so many crazy answers. Can you give me like a just a quick glimpse of what you take? Yeah, like okay, I know it's a short tour, but please,
I need
please,
this to
please
be saved.
indulge me.
I need this to be saved so that I can
Okay,
get an endorsement. Okay.
I got you.
Good to go protein bars. I have hot girl tummy problems. I can't eat highly processed foods. I will die. Good to go bars. They have great macros, 20 grams protein, 300 calories, and they're just basically
Hmm.
made with like whey protein, peanut butter, and honey. And that's it. And I keep that thing on me. I eat it once a day, and it's basically my breakfast. It's a very girl thing of me to say. Us girls, we like our iced coffee and basically nothing in the morning for breakfast, but it is like the one protein bar that I can eat. Um,
Yeah,
and yeah, I even gave like my whole like tour. I swear I should work for them. Like, yeah, I gave
dude,
everybody some.
dude, we're gonna put this out. This is gonna be on all streaming platforms. So yes, if you're listening, the endorsements are coming. And sponsor her. And hey, dude, I'm telling you, iced coffee, I'm basic a lot, so I do that for breakfast all the time.
Let us have fun. It's iced
Dude,
coffee. It's
yeah,
delicious.
exactly. So I've had so many.
We live in Texas. It's too hot.
Oh man, we got through one of the worst summers too. I freaking hate summer. Like the older I get,
Yeah.
I'm in my mid 30s now, and I'm just like the older I get, I love this weather. November, dude, today was so good. I got to wear my hoodie today, so I get to brag about things like that I didn't really think I would brag about 10 years ago. Like, what the
Yeah.
hell?
I know. Yeah, I'd rather have seasonal depression than this heat that's just been blazing and I can't go outside.
Here,
So,
here. Can you, I don't know if you can talk about this, but as far as on the road, what does the outlook look like for Gore in 2025? Can you say or not say?
cannot drop anything at this current moment.
Okay.
But November 12th, we have a very large announcement for a
Oh shit, that is
festival.
exactly a week. Oh my God, dude. I can't wait. Seriously, well, of course, I got a drawing the line between being a journalist and being a fan, but I'm dying to see you guys live. So let's hope. I am hoping something down the road opens up.
There will
But
be a lot more than a 5 day run in 2025.
can't
You know,
fucking wait. And Haley, I'm always intrigued to hear about other aspects of an artist that potentially feed into their creativity and personality. Aside from the music, I don't know what you can mention here, but what else do you have going on, man?
well, so as a lot of you know, I'm an engineer at NASA. That's like my day job. It's a job that makes the money and then the music takes it away. Uh,
I'm gonna use that as a sound bit. That's like so true. I have so many musician friends that almost like they pretty much said the same thing in a similar perspective.
yeah, you have one job that feeds the other,
Yeah,
you know?
that's how it goes.
But I've been working at NASA for 8 years
Holy
now,
shit.
including my internship.
That's pretty cool.
Makes me sound really old. But it's the best job in the whole world. Like I absolutely adore it. And I adore all my coworkers, and it feels amazing to be a part of something greater than yourself. I am in the spacewalk operations team, so I basically a few things that I do is I'm helping build the new generation spacesuit from like an operational perspective. Um, I also help with like increment management, which basically means like planning things that are going to happen that involve the spacesuit on orbit at any given time. Like that's part of my job description. I occasionally teach astronauts on the spacesuit, hold evaluations and all that stuff. It's really freaking
Dude,
cool.
dude, you're seeing me like stroke my beard. I'm itch. Obviously, we'll do this on a different time, but so many questions I have about that profession. But dude, I'm proud of you. Keep that going. I was at a job for 11 years before I work in medicine now. So medicine,
Amazing.
IT technology actually in the
Yeah.
medicine industry, I guess you can call it. But
Yeah.
but it's cool to see like we have different parts of our lives, and here we are, man, talking about what we fucking love, death metal. But I love that. I
Yeah.
love you for love that for that you share that with me. But keep that thing going. But can we get to a bud that never blooms now? Because absolutely. Because let me list these bands out for you, Haley. Okay, let me list
Okay.
this out for you. Um, Black Veil Brides, Atreyu, Sleep Token. Why am I labeling these random bands out to you right now? What
Because
can you
they're on the
tell?
same label.
They are your label mates for people who don't know because October 25th when this EP dropped, it's on Spine Farm Records. What is it like, Haley, signing with such a prominent label like Spine Farm to really kick off this new chapter for you? Because these aren't just any bands. This isn't just another label. This is a big step. You mentioned pressure earlier in our conversation. Do you feel that? Is there that level of pressure at all for you when you kick off a band's career like that? Or do you just drown out all that noise? You know what? Let's fucking go. I don't care. This is what I was meant to do.
Yeah, I always say the same thing. Like, I'm not special in that way. Like, there are bands and there are artists that have gone viral. Their first single,
Mhm.
20 million streams, 30 million streams in like 6 months. They have a lot of pressure. I won't lie and say that I don't, but
Mhm.
like, I'm not that important yet. So I'm trying to like, it's so easy to get caught up in like, oh, I have to do this and this and this and this. And it's like, sure, there are people watching, but you're still not like, I just like telling myself that I'm not that important in the grand scheme of things. So to just keep the nose to the grindstone.
Don't get too high, don't get too low. That's a good way to approach it. I'm stuttering through our conversation because I'm just so excited for you because when outlets like Revolver label you as like a band you need to know, I mean, you're doing something right
I
because when
squealed.
something like
That's
this
all
happens, like that's uh,
Yeah.
the reason why I'm telling you this, Haley. I really want you to celebrate your successes because the results are showing. So, as a fan, I guess I can say I'm like really proud of to see your growth from what you told me from where you started, right? From your previous band to where you are right now, dude. Pat yourself on the back. Can you reach your back and like pat yourself? Do this.
I have really short
But
arms, but I can do my best.
hey, so do I. So you know exactly how I feel. But dude, this 5-track EP, I mean, it couldn't have gotten me more excited on newer music coming from you guys. I gotta applaud you, of course, and your bandmates because each of you fucking went above and beyond. You could hearing this album, it was ferocious, it was emotional, it was visceral. Can I say that? It was very strong, like um from Pray to Heaven is Above Me. And by the way, I think my favorite track on this, as I'm just thinking about it, I think it's Angels Like You.
Ooh, the
I
girly bop one.
that's what I love about it because let me tell you this, okay? I love death metal, but I also love I know a lot of my fans already know about this. I love the Spice Girls too, okay? We don't have to get
Yeah,
into that, but it really tapped
W.
into a whole different dimension that I grew up with. I grew up with pop music. Like my mom's a professional music artist. So when it comes to like singers and vocals and things like that, I pay attention to material like that. A lot of bands really find their sound along the way. We could list and name so many, but dude, I think you've got it like right here. And of course, I made sure because my window is right there. I made sure my neighbors ended up loving this album too. But can these songs, Haley, serve as a sneak peek into, I don't know, what's to come on a future record, or are we just barely scratching the surface here.
Yeah, I think that you can still expect the Gore sound that you hear now to carry in the future,
Fucking A.
but you'll be disappointed if you expect it to be just another A Bud That Never Blooms next time, because it absolutely won't be. Like the way in which we're dropping material next time is going to be different.
Hmm.
And there are going to be songs that steer like a little bit away more so from like the shoegaze element, some that get really close to it and they're just like a deep cut shoegaze song. Like we're kind of gonna go all over the map on that one. So I would
Hmm.
just don't expect anything except to like the music, I hope.
I love that, the unpredictability. I wonder how much do things change from when you first start recording an album like this to where you end up finishing it. I don't know if a lot changes in between. Does nothing change in between, which is okay, but I wonder if you set out from day one that you knew what this EP was going to sound like. I'm guessing no. It just
Absolutely not.
grew. Yeah, it
Yeah,
just
no
grew
way.
into this behemoth of an album to this final product that I've been just raving about.
Which like scares me a little bit because I was like, well, this just came out. Like, can I do this again? Like, I don't.
Do you ever listen to the final product of, I don't know if you've fallen into this trap, but you ever listen to the final product of this album and then you like, oh, you know what? I should have sung it this way. Or maybe even like Alex or Devin, they're like, oh, we should have done it this way. Do you ever do that or what?
They're like, yeah, there are a couple spots where I'm like, that sounds weird to me, and I would
Hmm.
have done it differently, but I know that nobody else is gonna
But
notice.
check this out.
Absolutely.
You can go on stage and do it that way,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, and here's the thing: what really, really cool element about this album. I'm an audiophile these days, Haley. I'm very picky on how I want my music to sound, the way I want it to sound. But the sound itself was a big part of this record that I really loved because this EP was produced by Miserable Productions, if I'm not
Miserable
mistaken, with
Productions, yeah. Yeah.
Ben
Ben
McGinnis.
McGinnis
Yeah,
and Caleb Fryhout.
Caleb.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how to say
Caleb
his last
Fryhout.
name. We love you, Caleb. I'm so sorry, but serving as co-producers,
I'm
those
pretty
two
sure I
guys.
said Freehout one time and he was like, it's Fryhout. I was like, okay, I'll remember that.
But those two guys served as co-producers, and it was EP mixed by, I got his name here, Cody Stewart. But dude, talk about these guys for a minute here. I'm sure they gave you that sense of comfortability in the studio, knowing you had someone like Ben, knowing you had Caleb, knowing you had Cody working on this album with you, right? Like you can have your sound the way you want it, right, as a vocalist, but you got to get it out there the way you want the fans to hear it. They did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, Ben and Caleb are like hidden gems. Like
Mhm.
they're one of those they're that team that should be like up there with the big dogs, but they just kind of started
They're
and
gonna
I
get
feel
there.
like blessed to find them.
Hmm.
Um and then Cody obviously has been, around for a while
Yeah.
and is absolutely known for just crushing mixes. And a lot of people have told him, like, this is your best mix this year.
I
So
believe
like, he
that.
saved it for us.
Dude,
Ah,
and that's the thing. The quality of this album it was just so like it wasn't too polished, it wasn't too dirty. It was just right there the way I wanted. Dude, and here's the thing, like us metalheads, it's so hard, right? You have to find that perfect spot in the middle where it's just right. And it can make or break an album, believe it or not. So
yeah.
I think they did a great job, but between writing and of course stretching the songs, the production process like we just talked about. Keep all this in mind as I'm asking you this, Haley, because the lyricism throughout this album, right? It delivers a wider picture of Gore and you as a whole. Uh, I think it was something about almost like telling the story about a child almost, like because every single song on here, it's 5 tracks, but if you really listen to it, it transforms a child from innocence to cynicism, resentment. Songs like Heaven is Above Me, for example. I think this was the first Gore song ever written. It's
It
about
sure was.
I'm
That
gonna
was the
quote,
first one.
yeah, and I'm gonna quote you here because this is why it's important. We'll probably be talking about this 10 years from now. Who knows? It is about a tumultuous, agonizing parent-child relationship, a relationship which a parent will declare his love of his children to everyone in the world except for the children he speaks of. God, that hit me right to the core as I said it too. Even my upbringings, like I begin to think of tangibles like a theme or a message to your music, right? Whether there's one, whether there's multiple. How important are themes to you, Haley? Is that a big component of songwriting for a band like Gore, for someone like Haley?
I
Loaded
think,
question, I know, but
yeah, no, I think it depends on the time of your life in which the art you create is based. Like
hmm,
for me, I think it was really important to have a very vulnerable theme for this EP as I was in a very vulnerable time in my life.
yeah,
Is the music that I write today going to be another theme of like desperation and hopelessness? Maybe not. I'm not in that time in my life right now. Could it be even more desperate and hopeless now that I've processed all of that and now that I can, put it on paper? Maybe. Um, it wasn't necessarily intentional. It just happened
yeah.
that way.
Almost like a snapshot of where you are in a certain time in your life looking back. Like if you were to sing this, if you were to sing a song from this EP 5 or 6 years from now, maybe you're in a different state of mind at that time, right? Is it's interesting because if you sing it, it's like, man, this is how I was back in 2024 or 2023. I don't know. I'm not a performer, but it's definitely something to think about. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about this stuff again in the future, but it really shows, I think you're again, I'm repeating myself, your growth as a musician, as a person. So I think it's amazing that almost like a point where it's therapeutic, where you have these experiences and you're able to transition into something so productive like this. You have this release. You, would you agree or disagree to that? So
It absolutely
I feel like I'm
was.
rambling, but I'm
No,
starting to feel like this is exactly how it is.
yeah, it was absolutely a release. And you got to hear that listening back to, I was like, man, I was so sad. Like, listen back to those recordings, but you can feel it. And I think that that's really special. So,
Yeah, no, I appreciate you sharing that. But I know we've covered a good amount of ground. That was awesome conversation, Haley. Of course, thank you so much for sharing so much about, of course, who you are and what Gore is all about. You know, representing the Texas music scene, of course, the fans and the form of display that you guys are. You know, from the different perspectives and the experiences in your timeline that we've taken in and which we've discussed about and performing and the people you have met, of course, during this amazing record, the touring, the growing fan base. I hope we get to see each other in person someday. The
me too.
relationship that you have with yourself and the music, it's second to none. We're entering an exciting part in your career with this bang of a record. Not just Gore, just with you too. I'm excited to see where you go from here. And I said this earlier, and I'll say it again. There's a level of inspiration to what you're doing here, and you're seeing results. I know we're 1 year in, but dude, you're seeing a lot of results. If you were to give your 2023 or even 2022 self advice from this version in front of me that's sitting right now, what would it be? That'll be the last part of this interview.
You don't think that things could get any better for you, but they can and they will. Like,
Hmm.
you kind of feel like, oh, this is where
Yeah.
life caps out, probably. Like, am I like really, really happy? No. Am I content? Yeah. It's only going to go downhill from here. It's like, I wish I
But
would have told myself that I am going to work really hard and deserve more than what I had.
hey, what did we do earlier?
Um,
Last question. I have to ask you this. What is your favorite space film and why is it Interstellar?
on the rocks. But I mean, if you count Hidden Figures as a space film, I would say
Hey,
that
okay,
was my
okay.
favorite because I walked out of
Yeah,
that movie with my dad and he just looked at me and he just goes, I just want you to know how proud I am of you after we watched that video or that movie and I went,
yeah. Oh man, I'm gonna do the ugly crying face with you. I can't do it.
like
Oh my God.
peak,
Yeah.
peak.
Excuse me. You're making me laugh
Also
really hard
really
right now.
peak.
So no, it is a great match. I think I've only seen it only like once, but coming from someone who's like an addict when it comes to film. But Haley, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I know we've reached, I think, the end of this interview, but of course, who knows what's gonna happen in the election. But nothing but love, nothing but the best for you and the boys from here on out. Have a great rest of the year. I'll keep you posted once this podcast drops. let's stay in touch on the socials. I'll love to nothing more than to stay connected with you down the road. But do you have any last words, any shout outs, anything you'd like to plug in or mention as far as Gore and the new album before we finish things off here?
All I gotta say is elections are temporary, but riffs are forever. Because
Oh,
you're watching
fucking
this on voting day.
God, I have so many drops I just want to grab from this conversation and just like keep them, keep them as like advice just on my phone. Haley said this. Listen to this, Sunny. This is gonna be like the first thing I hear when it hits January 1st, 2025. Like you're setting me up. This is great. Haley, thank you again. I'm gonna let you go here. Everyone listening, this is the great Haley Roughton, 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 right?
I'm just kidding.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
You could say,
Um,
honestly, you could say what I'll answer to any of them. Truly, it's fine.
the great and hauntingly versatile Haley. I'm just gonna give her that. And a Bud That Never Blooms is out now on Spine Farm Records. Hey, do me and Haley a favor. Buy the record, listen to it because the bands obviously can't do it without your help. It really goes a long way. And don't forget, you can listen to this podcast on all major podcast streams. Check us out on interviewunderfire.com. Haley, have the best day. I will see you down the road and stay in touch.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a good night.
Always. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to Interview Under Fire podcast. If you guys liked what you heard, please subscribe and share our channel. And please leave a 5-star review as that helps us tremendously. If you'd like to check out more, visit www.interviewunderfire.com or our social media channels on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And finally, we want to thank you all for the support you've been giving us. Keep it burning.